Hello, welcome back. And unfortunately, General Motors, much like the Loch Ness Monster, for a front and rear one of these blacked out Chevy logos, they wanted $350. Tree-fiddy. I just gave that Loch Ness Monster tree-fiddy last week, and I don't want to do that again. So I'm going to do this for ultra cheap, because I don't really want to pay that much for a set of blacked out logos. So first step that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna clean it up a little bit, just using some just glass cleaner to clean it, get all the kind of junk off there. And I like just a glass cleaner as a final because it's got a lot of alcohol in it. And when you wipe it up, what this means is the alcohol will get away from there quickly and then allow you to get to work so you don't have to wait for something to dry super long time. There we go. Now, how are we gonna make this black and also inexpensive at the same time? Now, I don't like the spray-on stuff. I don't think it looks particularly good, and I think it's kind of messy. That kind of spray-on goop, whatever you call it. I can't remember the name of it at the moment. But I had my boy Montana send me a little bit of this matte black wrap, which I've used before, and if you're familiar with me and my previous exploits, I used this stuff to wrap an entire Viper as my first project, which in hindsight was pretty stupid because I had never wrapped anything before, and all the things I had read says, oh yeah, you know, wrapping is really not hard as long as you're not wrapping a Viper. You know, and I found that wrapping a Viper was akin to wrapping a basketball, if you've ever tried to do that. So basically what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take just a little chunk here of my matte black. So I'm just gonna take a little bit from my boy Montana. I'll put a link in the description to his stuff. He does all my vinyl work, and the dude is awesome, does some really good stuff. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it here, kind of about there, and kind of about here. So here to, let's call it here. So edge to edge, and let's go ahead and do that. Boom. Okay, I got a spot. It's gonna cover the whole bit. It's okay to use a little bit extra, not a big deal, okay? And vinyl likes it when it's warm, and so you can get a hairdryer or a heat gun if you want. Some guys like to use a torch. Sometimes that's a little much for me. I don't feel like that I can control it very well. But in this case, I don't think I'm gonna need to. I'm just looking at some of the shapes here that I'm making, and they don't look super bad. There's a little, this is got a texture to it, so it might be a little difficult to stick to, but there is a small flat channel that runs the length of the logo, and I'm gonna be able to take my a knife here, a little quick blade, to cut inside it, and hopefully I'll be successful. So let's give it a whirl. I've got my other trusty tool, the squeegee, and we'll go ahead and see what kind of damage we can do. While I'm doing this, I want to shout out to Montana, my boy, who does all the vinyl work for me. So if you remember some of my previous cars, he's done all the vinyl work. He makes stuff, he can install stuff. Basically, if it's vinyl, he's your guy. So he's my boy, and he sent me this stuff. Which reminds me, I still have to pay him, so I'm not here, if anybody asks, okay? I'm not here. So, kind of easiest way sometimes is just to kind of start in the middle. We'll start here, okay? Use my squeegee, kind of doing this a little bit off. Just because I'm at an awkward angle here, but kind of let it do the work, okay? Okay, there we go. So got this side to do. And the nice thing about vinyl is you can kind of get it to almost re-glue itself in a way. by pulling it up and letting it stick again, because it is pressure sensitive, okay? So that's how you activate all the goodness that is the glue. Okay, so you can already see I've got my logo going. It's already here, and remember, I know that inside this little channel is our place we're gonna cut. Okay? So that's really all I care about at this moment. I'm gonna go back in. Let's see here. This stuff is pretty malleable, so you can move it around quite a bit. Get in there. Here we go. Start to push the seams in. Now the other reason I'm doing this is because I think it'll look good, kind of break up the all whiteness that is the truck. I do have a black bed liner that's on there, but it needs some color, I think, and an strong opposing color would be very helpful. So later on, I think I'm going to do. I've got some more of this matte black vinyl that Montana sent me, and I'm going to do some graphic on the hood using some razor tape and some custom deal that I saw online, and it looked pretty good, so I thought I would try and replicate it. So here we go. It's already in. There we go. All right, so I'm going to take my blade, not to a super far depth. Find my hole. There it is. Okay. Now, trick is not to go too far with the blade, because you can cut what's behind it, but just deep enough to cut the vinyl, but not the thing underneath, okay? So thankfully in this situation I've got a little channel I can follow that will allow me to kind of set my depth and not worry too much about cutting the item underneath. Do this see if I can do this left-handed. Whew, it's getting dicey. Getting dicey, so I'm not going to try it. All right, that should be most of it. Here we go. Success or failure? We're about to find out. Oh, would have been a failure because I missed a piece. Would have been a total failure. What's that old measure twice, cut once deal? Yeah, check your work. Never hurts, because the final step sometimes is completely ruining whatever you're doing. So let's try this out. So hopefully it'll stay. Oops. Didn't fully cut that part. See, but the nice part is you get these little tiny wrinkles. If you get a small one, it's not a big deal. What you can do is you go in there with your heat gun, heat it up a little bit, and then push it back, and you're totally fine. So, there we go. Oh, did not cut all the way through on that part. So sometimes when you're cutting it and you're trying to keep it at a very shallow depth, that will happen because you feel like you cut all the way through, but in reality you didn't. Alright, so when you got big pieces like this just kind of hanging off, I like to cut them a little easier to manage. Throw that away. Excess. peel it up there. There we go. A little bit there. We gotta peel up. There we go. All right, last step. Not too bad, right? Not too bad. So, last step, take our squeegee, sometimes your finger, whatever it takes, and go back over the seams to fill everything in. And sometimes you got to use your razor blade because that's the sharpest thing. That's the smallest item you got. Push in the seams. Fingernail, whatever it takes, right? Okay. Make sure all the seams are down nice and tight. There you go. Definitely at not even 20 feet, I'd say even 2 feet, you might not even know the difference. So, notice I said 2 feet maybe? Well, we're what? Yeah, 10 inches or so away. Can you tell the difference? I certainly can't, and worst case is, put it right back. All for what? 50 cents worth of vinyl? That is how you cheat the Loch Ness Monster out of tree-fiddy. Thanks a lot for watching. Hey, if you get an opportunity, please subscribe. That would be great.